Hi, my name is James Shepard, and today I'm going to teach you how to go over the line in sales. How to go over the line in sales. Now, let me first of all explain what I mean by going over the line, okay? Going over the line in sales means when someone is going to basically kick you out of the business or they're going to hang up on you, what you would think of as like a bad thing, basically, right? We all kind of agree that you don't want to, they say don't cross the line. Like there's a line, you don't want to cross that line. Well, today I want to talk to you about why you should cross the line in sales. So why you should cross the line in sales. Now, here's what I'm talking about with that. Let me explain something to you. When you were growing up, okay, you had your, parents, your aunt and uncle, your grandparents, these adults in your life. And you learned something. You learned how to not cross the line. With my parents, I could say, hey, Mom and Dad, can we please go get some ice cream? And they're like, no, not tonight. We're really tired. Oh, Mom, please, we need to get ice cream. Well, guess what? If I kept doing that, there was going to get to a point where I'd cross the line and she'd say, go to your room, and I was in trouble. And so I didn't want to cross that line. But here's something that we've probably all forgotten. How did you figure out where that line was at? Think about that. How do you know where the line is? Well, the way you know where the line is that you probably crossed the line a few times, right? And when you cross that line, right away, you got some negative feedback and you're like, ooh, that's where the line is. Now, here's why I'm telling you that. There's this psychological problem that many salespeople have. Many salespeople, they don't want to cross a line, and so they want to make sure they're not being too pushy, and so they don't cross a line. Now, the interesting thing is, if I was doing this video, when I first got into sales, even 15 years ago, it seemed like most salespeople that I interacted with were constantly crossing the line. The problem was that it was like, pull back a little bit. But I'll tell you what, today as I go around and do consulting and talk to different salespeople, I'm amazed. I never hear salespeople cross the line. In fact, the problem is that most salespeople don't even know where the line is because they've never crossed the line, and they're like way, way back from the line, and they don't even realize it. They feel like they're right on the edge, but actually the edge is like 10 miles away. So what I want to tell you about today is why you should cross the line in sales. And let me explain what I mean by this. I'm not saying you should constantly push people over that line, but what you need to decide is on your next sales call, this is a challenge to you, okay? I know this is probably going to get some negative comments, but I can live with that. What you need to do on your next sales call is this. You need to decide that on your next sales call, if you walk into a business, that you're either going to get the yes or you're going to get kicked out. You're either going to get the yes or you're going to get kicked out. You are not going to leave there without the sale. Now, for most of you, that would be a terrifying thing. I'll tell you a little story about this. So when I first got into merchant services, the first day I had 3 appointments. The company I was with gave me some telemarketed appointments. They were terrible, but they were still leads. So when you're a salesperson, you don't care. If you have a name and a number, you go make a sale. Name and an address. So first place I went to, barber shop, talked to this guy for like 30 minutes. He was doing like maybe $1,000 a month in credit card processing, which for those of you that understand the industry know that that's really not much of a sale. So it didn't work out with him. He wasn't interested. So I went up to my next one, which was this little bike shop. I'll never forget it. A little tiny bike shop. The poor guy that was running this thing had probably been doing it for like 50 years. I don't know. He was like 90. And I decided when I was pulling in, you know what? This is a new thing for me. I'm starting to sell credit card processing. I need to figure out where that line is. Otherwise, I can't really push as hard as I want to push because I don't know where the line is. So whoever I go to next, I'm either walking out with a sale or I'm walking out because I got kicked out. And so that's what I did. And this poor guy, I was in there for like 2.5 hours, literally, talking to this guy, looking at his statement, just going back in, and just, it was relentless. I was going to get the sale. And you know what? This guy ended up signing up with me. It was my first sale I ever made in credit card processing. And there was a few times where I could tell, ooh, I kind of crossed the line. I got to say I'm sorry and back up a little bit. But you know what? I got that sale, and that sale is what showed me where the line was. So then I could push harder with everybody else because I knew where the line was. Most of you in sales right now, you're closing like 10% as hard as you could. You could be closing like, literally 7 or 8 more times than you are. Somebody tells you no, and you're just like, oh, okay, well, thanks for your time. That's not a sales professional. What is? Are you an order taker? Close deals. You're a sales professional, right? When they say no, you close again. And then when they say no, you close again. And then when they say no, you make it personal and say, hey, look, I'm not trying to be difficult here, but this is my business and it really matters to me. I believe that I can do a good job for you. I know I can do that. And I want the opportunity to earn your trust. Please give me that chance to do that. Will you at least give me a shot? Like, you got to use lines like that. You got to push and say, hey, I really need this. And again, for most of you, 99% of you listening to this, you have never crossed the line in sales. And so just like when you were a kid, you have no idea where the line is until you cross the line. So let me encourage you to do something. Again, on your next call, your next stop in, decide, I'm going to make this sale or I'm going to cross the line and I'm going to get kicked out or whatever. I'm going to figure out, oh wow, I crossed the line, I got to get out of here. But make sure you find out where that line is, and then you need to push harder to make sure that you're closing deals, because that is what salespeople do.